Here's something wild. Right now, as you're watching this, there's a good chance you're not just dealing with emotional pain, you're actually addicted to it. And I don't mean that in some harsh, judgmental way. I mean it literally. Your brain has wired itself to seek out, recreate, and hold on to painful feelings, the same way someone craves sugar or scrolls endlessly through their phone. You know that feeling when everything's going well, but your mind immediately goes, when's the other shoe going to drop? Or when peace feels uncomfortable, so you pick a fight, create drama, or spiral into worst-case scenarios just to feel something familiar. That's not anxiety, that's addiction. And the drug? Emotional pain. The crazy part? Most people don't even know they're doing it. They just think they're unlucky in love, cursed with overthinking, or surrounded by toxic people. But what if I told you the common denominator isn't out there? It's in here. And today, I'm breaking down exactly how this addiction forms, why you keep feeding it, and the 3 steps to finally break free. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. Your brain doesn't actually want you to be happy, it wants you to be safe. And here's the twisted part. Pain feels safer than peace when pain is all you've known. Think about it. If you grew up in chaos, walking on eggshells, managing other people's emotions, or never knowing if you'd be loved or criticized on any given day, your nervous system learned something critical. Calm is the warning sign. Calm means something bad is coming. So your brain, trying to protect you, keeps you in a state of emotional alertness. It manufactures problems. It catastrophizes. It keeps you hooked on drama because at least drama is predictable. This is why you can leave a toxic relationship and immediately find yourself in another one. Why you self-sabotage right when things start going well. Why you're drawn to people who make you feel the way you felt growing up. Unseen, unworthy, always trying to earn love. It's not that you're broken, it's that your brain is doing exactly what it was trained to do, seek the familiar. Even if the familiar is painful. And here's where the addiction deepens. Every time you ruminate, replay conversations, imagine confrontations that haven't happened, or scroll through someone's profile looking for proof they've moved on, you're getting a hit. Your brain releases stress hormones, and weirdly, those hormones become your baseline. You become chemically dependent on your own suffering. That's why letting go feels so hard. You're not just releasing a person or situation, you're withdrawing from the neurochemical cocktail your brain has been marinating in. And withdrawal, emotionally or chemically, always feels worse before it feels better. But it has to happen if you ever want to be free. So how do you know if you're actually addicted to emotional pain or just going through a rough patch? Let me give you the checklist, and be honest with yourself here. First, you feel uncomfortable when things are going well. Peace makes you anxious. You don't trust it. You're waiting for it to end, so sometimes you unconsciously end it yourself. Second, you're attracted to people who are emotionally unavailable, inconsistent, or require you to prove your worth over and over. And when someone shows up stable, consistent, and actually interested, you call them boring. You ghost them. You friend zone them because they don't trigger that familiar ache. Third, you replay painful memories on a loop. Not to heal from them, but to feel them. It's like picking at a scab. You know it's not helping, but you can't stop. And every time you replay it, you re-traumatize yourself. Fourth, you overshare your pain, not for support, but for identity. Your struggles become your personality. You introduce yourself through your wounds. I'm the one who always gets hurt. I'm the one who can't trust anyone. And the more you repeat it, the more it becomes true. Fifth, you reject help, positivity, or solutions. When someone offers advice, you explain why it won't work. When things start improving, you find the flaw. Because if you're not suffering, who are you? Your pain has become so central to your identity that healing feels like losing yourself. If you recognized yourself in even 2 of these, stay with me, because what I'm about to share isn't another just think positive speech. These are the actual 3 steps that rewire your brain, break the cycle, and finally set you free. Step 1 is simple but not easy. You have to catch yourself in the act, because the thing about addiction is, it thrives in autopilot. The moment you bring awareness to the pattern, you weaken its grip. So here's what you do. The next time you feel yourself spiraling, whether it's replaying a conversation, imagining a worst-case scenario, or about to text someone you know you shouldn't, pause, literally stop, take 3 deep breaths, and ask yourself one question. Am I trying to solve a problem or am I trying to feel a feeling? 9 times out of 10, you're not problem solving. You're chasing the feeling. You're going back to the emotional well because it's what you know. And once you see that, once you catch yourself reaching for the pain like it's comfort food, you have a choice. You don't have to indulge it. Now your brain is going to protest. It's going to say, but what if I need to think about this? What if I'm missing something important? That's the addiction talking. That's the craving. And And just like any craving, if you don't feed it, it fades. So instead of diving back into the spiral, redirect. And I don't mean distract yourself with your phone or binge watching a show. I mean actively choose a different mental channel. Call a friend who lifts you up. Go for a walk. Journal it out, but with a timer. Give yourself 5 minutes to dump it all out, then close the notebook and move on. Do not let your pain have unlimited access to your attention. Because here's the truth. The more you interrupt the pattern, the weaker it becomes. Your brain will stop automatically reaching for suffering because it's no longer being rewarded with your full focus. And that's when the real shift starts. You're not ignoring your pain, you're just refusing to let it run your life. And that difference, that's everything. Step 2 is where people get defensive, but I'm gonna say it anyway. You have to stop romanticizing your pain. Stop making it poetic. Stop turning your suffering into your brand. Because here's what happens. When you constantly talk about how much you've been through, how deeply you feel, how you're too sensitive for this world, you're not processing the pain, you're performing it. And every time you perform it, you reinforce the identity. You become the person who suffers. And if that's who you are, then healing becomes a threat to your sense of self. I see this all the time. People wear their trauma like armor. They bond over shared wounds. They compete in the pain Olympics. You think that's bad? Let me tell you what happened to me. And look, I get it. Pain is one of the fastest ways to connect with others. Vulnerability is powerful, but there's a difference between sharing your story to heal and sharing your story to stay stuck. So ask yourself, when you talk about your pain, are you looking for support or validation? Are you seeking solutions or sympathy? Are you trying to move forward, or are you trying to be understood in your stuckness? Because if it's the latter, you're feeding the addiction. And here's the hard part. You have to be willing to let go of the identity. You have to be okay with not being the wounded one anymore. You have to be okay with people seeing you as whole, even if you don't fully feel whole yet. Because the version of you that heals doesn't get to keep the same stories. You don't get to be both the victim and the victor. You have to choose. And I know that's scary. Because if you're not the person who's been through hell, if you're not the one who's barely holding it together, then who are you? But that's the point. You get to find out. You get to build a new identity. One that isn't centered around your pain. One that's centered around your power. So stop posting the sad lyrics. Stop seeking out content that makes you spiral. Stop curating a life that confirms your suffering. Start consuming, creating, and surrounding yourself with evidence that you can heal. That you're healing. That you're not defined by what hurt you, but by what you're becoming despite it. Because the moment you stop glorifying the pain, you start making room for the peace. And peace, real peace, is so much more interesting than suffering ever was. Step 3 is the most important, and it's the one most people skip. You have to actively build a new emotional baseline, because if you don't, you'll default back to pain every single time. Here's what I mean. Right now, your nervous system is wired for chaos. Drama feels normal, calm feels foreign. So even when you remove the toxic people, the bad situations, the painful patterns, you still feel uncomfortable. And that discomfort will drive you back to what's familiar if you don't replace it with something new. So you have to train your body to feel safe in peace. And that requires repetition. Every single day, you need to do something that signals to your nervous system, we're okay, we're safe, we're not in danger anymore. For some people, that's a morning routine that's non-negotiable, meditation, journaling, movement, something that grounds you before the day pulls you in 100 directions. For others, it's boundaries, saying no without guilt, protecting your energy without explanation, creating space that's just yours. But here's the key. It can't just be mental, you have to involve your body. Because trauma and addiction don't just live in your thoughts, they live in your nervous system. So you need somatic practices, breathwork, yoga, dancing. Even something as simple as shaking out your body for 60 seconds can release stored tension and reset your system. And you have to do this even when, especially when, it feels pointless. Because your brain is going to resist. It's going to say, this isn't working. I still feel bad. I should just go back to what I know. That's the withdrawal talking. That's the addiction trying to pull you back in. Don't listen. Instead, trust the process. Every time you choose peace over chaos, calm over crisis, you're laying down a new neural pathway. You're teaching your brain that safety isn't boring. It's the foundation for everything you actually want. And over time, the new baseline becomes automatic. Peace becomes your default. And pain? It's no longer home. You'll know you've made it when you can sit in stillness without spiraling. When good things happen and you don't immediately brace for the fall. When you're around emotionally healthy people and you don't feel the need to create drama just to feel something. That's freedom. That's the other side. And it's waiting for you, but only if you're willing to do the work to get there. So let's bring this home. You're not addicted to emotional pain because you're weak. You're addicted because, at some point, pain was the only constant you had. It became familiar, safe, predictable. But just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's home. And just because you've carried it this far doesn't mean you have to carry it any further. Breaking free isn't about one big moment. It's about 1,000 small choices. Interrupt the pattern. Stop romanticizing the suffering. Build a new baseline. And day by day, breath by breath, you'll start to feel the grip loosen. You'll start to remember who you were before the pain. Or better yet, you'll discover who you're becoming because of what you've survived. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, I want you to do something for me. Drop this phrase in the comments. I choose peace. Just those 3 words. Because saying it out loud, even in a comment, is the first step to making it real. And when you see other people saying it too, you'll realize you're not alone in this. We're all choosing peace together. If this hit home, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Like it so more people find it. And remember, you're not a prisoner to your pain. You're just someone who's ready to be free.